Hello, everyone. Let's continue our lesson on the Lord's Prayer so we can learn that all together and say it when their friends in church say it too. Last week, we learned the first line of this prayer, which says, Our Father, who art in heaven. This week, we're going to learn the next line. Its words are, Hallowed be thy name. Let's say that all together. Hallowed be thy name. One more time. Hallowed be thy name. Now there's a couple kind of tricky words in there, so let's talk about what those words mean. The first one is hallowed. I'll give you a second to talk with your family about what you think hallowed might mean. What do you think that means? So hallowed means holy. The other word I want to talk about is thy. When we hear thy name, what do you think that means? What does thy mean? Again, I'll give you a second to talk about that with your family. So thy means your. So when we say thy name, we're saying your name. Now let's think about that. Who is your name talking about when we're saying a prayer? Since we're talking to God when we're praying this Lord's Prayer, when we say your name, it means God's name. So all together, this line is really saying, holy be your name. That's what we're saying when we say, hallowed be thy name. It's holy be your name. So let's talk about what this means. When we say this, we're saying that God's name is holy. And we're also asking God to help us keep his name holy. We keep his name holy when we live like God wants us to, like God teaches us through the Bible, which comes from him. Today's reading about the lesson that Jesus taught on the mountain gives us some of the ways we can live like God wants us to, like being kind, helping other people, and thinking of God and others before we think of ourselves. God's name is so holy that we should only use it when we're really talking to him, which is why we don't say things like, oh my God, when we're not talking to him. Sometimes you might hear people say that when they're really surprised, or sometimes people say it a lot for a lot of different reasons, but really we only should be saying that when we're talking really to our God, like when we're praying to him or when we're asking him for help or thanking him for something. So let's go over this new line one more time. Ready? Hallowed be thy name. Say that with me one more time. Hallowed be thy name. Now all together, let's start from the beginning and go over last week's line and this week's line. So all together, so far we know, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Good job. Let's do that one more time. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And there you go. Just like that, we now know the first two lines of the Lord's Prayer. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.